we're going to adjust our layout for the grid, or our HTML and CSS for the grid, instead of for Flexbox. And for this, we are going to just comment out, oops, this is the Flexbox code we're commenting out. Okay, so we're going to comment out this Flexbox code, and we're going to reload. Wonderful. Very good. Here are all of our items, and now we shall adjust them for grid. So this main section over here is where we are going to set the display to grid. Instead of display flex, we have display grid. Okay, and now everything is together. And actually, in this case, I do want to include the header. In our grid. So I'm going to say div class equals box header. We have the content of the header and div, and save. Now it's all together, but the excuse me, but the color information is gone because we are calling it with this selector over here, which is now going to be the class of header. So save and reload. Okay, and now we are back. Beautiful. So one thing we want to have is a header, footer, sidebars, perhaps on either side of the image, of the layout. So let's look over here. Oh, perfect. This is pretty much what I was looking for. So like the Flexbox, the grid will create columns and rows, and it also has a built-in gap, which can be set over here. It has column lines, and we can say where we want it to start and where we want it to end, which means that we can set item 1 to start and end at the beginning, and start at the beginning and end at the start at the leftmost property and end at the rightmost property. So that would be something we might put here. Now we didn't specify how many columns the grid has, so let's see what effect this will have. Interesting. Okay, so now we've created a grid. That green does not look so good next to the orange. So this is automatically a header for us now. And maybe we want to do the same thing with these bottom divs. So those are called dispersion, and summary. So if we tell it where to start and end, now they are starting at the beginning and ending at the end of our window, and while the other colors are aligned in the grid, and they'll maintain this relationship regardless of the window stretching, becoming wider or less wide. Okay, so let's say I want to take this dispersion definition and put it into the sidebar. We can do that by defining which classes are going to be part of what grid area. So let's assign the grid area of footer to this dispersion information, the grid area of header to our header. That goes without saying. The grid area of menu, even though it's not a menu, but we want it to occupy the same space right here, to our summary, and everything else I just want to be in the main. And if we save and reload, we'll see that this doesn't, actually it does change everything, put everything all in one place. But what we want to do is to define our template. So our template here, you can see, is just the repetition of these sections, kind of placing out where it's going to go. So here it's repeated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, which means that of the 6 units that this is broken down into, we want the rightmost 5 to be occupied by the footer and the leftmost 1 to be occupied by the menu. Okay, that sounds like a good breakdown to me, so I'm going to copy this but adjust it to my needs. So let's put it in main. So for one thing, we don't have a right, we just have this main section. We do have a header and a footer. I think I want the footer to be the entire bottom row. So really the only part I'm breaking down here is, the only row I'm breaking into 2 sections is this middle one. Alright, so I've saved that. Let's see what we get. Okay, that looks pretty good. It looks also like we've lost all our other colors, like maybe they're stacked one on top of the other. So let's fix that. But you can see we have menu to the left and violet to the right, occupying 5 of our 6 units. And we have our light frequencies, header, and our dispersion footer. And they always maintain the same proportions whether the window gets shrunk. So on a phone it would be like this, and you can imagine how useful it might be to have a header, a footer always at the bottom, the header always at the top, a menu always at the side, and your content occupying a space like this. Okay, so let's fix our stacking issue. So I made all of these be main. Now I wonder if what we need to do is something like main 1, main 2, main 3. Main 1, main 2, 3. As in we have to specify with different names. Yes, that is what we have to do. Okay. Alright, so now they all fit in here. However, we also have our violet, which didn't fit into this beautiful rainbow. So let's add a main 6. And here, that means we're adding another row. So we can add this, but that means we have to add another header unit and another footer unit, so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sections here. Okay, saving that and reloading, and there we go. Cool. Now if we want it to be less wide, we could try something like this. This is what we want. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, but 4 sections all together, which means here we want 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can delete these. Okay, so now we have a grid layout, an even grid layout again. Reload, and perfect. Okay, so that's an example of using the grid. We want to also test the accessibility of our website for our homework this week. So we're going to add this Axe Web Accessibility Testing extension. I'm adding it to Firefox in my case, since it is my browser of choice. Here it is installed now. And so I'm going to go to my website. Okay, so I have run the accessibility, the Axe add-on by going to Tools, Web Developer, Accessibility. And here's this little Axe tab. And I can run my issues, and it says, all right, I have the contrast between foreground and background colors is not high enough. It tells me what element is at fault, and it tells me what I need to do. So I need to fix the color of the A, this purple, right here. That's my first of 10 issues. So let's do that. We can say .red A, so the link's in red, and we can say color black. So that will be a higher contrast. Now it's in black, and we can reload. Okay. Next, not enough color contrast between this green and black. HTML element needs a language attribute. Okay. So we can go here, HTML lang equals en. I imagine that helps screen readers know what language to read in. This contrast issue with the green is a little problematic for me because I don't want to make the text bigger. So maybe I'm just gonna adjust my green hex color picker. I don't like this green anyway, it's too dark. So we will go here. Now that is a green I can get behind. More of a lime green kind of situation. Perfect. Okay, now let's see. Reload. That looks nicer to me. Okay. Next color contrast. Okay, so it's telling me that I have that this is not contrasty enough, which I'm just kind of totally shocked by. I mean, quite contrasty in my opinion, but also I think this blue is too dark. I would like something like more of a pure tone, like this, but yeah, okay, maybe this. Let's try that on for size. See if we like it. Oh yeah, I think these go much better together than that dark blue we had. Okay. Now it's saying this is not sufficient color contrast. Okay. So under violet dot violet A, we can make this black as well. At this point, from a design perspective, I might just make all of my links black, but let's leave this for now. Okay, and I have one last issue. I don't think that this has a contrast problem. I think that it's just confused by the gradient. It's not sure what to make of it. Link with a name, but the same name must have a similar purpose. What? Yes, I think that's fine. Because all my Wikipedia links lead to the Wikipedia of the color that it's on. Doesn't seem off to me. Okay, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to say all of the A links should be black, regardless of what class they're in. So that's going to be a high level CSS. We'll put it up here. Okay, and let's reload. Now all my A links are black, and that's it. So this says it's a potential issue. This flag means it's not necessarily an issue, which I agree. I think it's definitely fine. And I think in the context of what I'm doing, it's fine that all my links are Wikipedia, because the only Wikipedia links are the color links on this page. Okay, so that's how you put your page through the Axe accessibility software.